Hello viewers, we're now taking you through the story for A-Level Applied Mathematics. And in this video, we're going to go through the marking guide of Senior 5 of Math 2 Mid of Term 2 for the year 2023. And this video is suited for students in both Senior 5 and Senior 6 offering mathematics as part of their combination. So this is the outline for this month. We shall do midterm exams, marking guides, mock exams, marking guides, and UNEB exams. And this video, we're going to go through the marking guide of Senior 5 Math Part 2 of Mid of Term 2 2023. And of course, the books I recommend are these books for Principal Mathematics. There are 4 books: Math 1, Math 2, Topical Question Bank, and Termly Past Papers. Subsidiary Math, it is only 1 book, and Physics, there are 4 books: Physics 1, Physics 2, Topical Question Bank, and its solutions. So our copies, call on this number or WhatsApp. So now we shall go to the questions. Section A this time had 32 marks. So question 1 says, events A and B are such that probability of A is 0.7, probability of B is 0.2, and probability of A given B. Some students call this division, but just A given B. It's a conditional probability, is 1.2. Find the probability that Roman 1 both events will occur. Both means intersection A and B. So both events occur will be probability of B multiplied by probability of A given B. So this formula is available in your logbooks. It says that A given B probability will be equal to the intersection over the probability which comes after the slash, and that is probability of B. Now when I cross multiply, take this on this side to come up with probability of B times probability of A given B, which will give me the intersection. Now after knowing that formula, we can come and substitute for probability of B and probability of A given B to give you 0.02. And that's what they wanted in Roman 1. For Roman 2, they said probably that exactly one of the events occurs. So exactly one means A only or B only. The O is not by this addition. So from the contiguous table, probability of A given B intersection B complement is given by this, and probability of A complement intersection B is given by this. So when you rearrange, you come up with PA plus PB minus twice probability of A intersection B. The good thing, all these probabilities, I have them, so I'll come and substitute for PA, for PB, and for the intersection. Using a calculator, it gives me this. That is one way of answering Roman 2. Another way could be that probability of exactly 1 is the same as union minus intersection, for those who use set theory. So in a substitute, I'll still come back to this, then put in the values and get the output. So any of the 2 methods is okay. So here this took 2 marks, 1 for multiplying and 2 for the output. Here 1 for stating this or this, then 1 for substitution and 1 for the output. And that's how the 5 marks would come about. Then question 2 says, 2 particles are traveling along a road, a straight line, AB of length 20 meters. At the same instant, one particle starts from rest at A and travels towards B with a constant acceleration of 2 meters per second squared. and the other particle starts from rest at B and travels towards A with a constant acceleration of 5 meters per second squared. Find how far from A the particles collide. So here we shall need a sketch for it to easily answer the question. Of course, the sketch may not carry a mark, but it is necessary. So one is traveling from A, another is traveling from B, and they're moving towards each other. Initial velocity is 0 for both, but acceleration changes. So if they meet at a point, say that one, it implies that this will have moved a distance, say x, and this will have moved the balance. Remember, from here to here, it was 20, meaning that the balance will be 20 minus x. So now that we know U, A, and S, U, A, and S, we can use the second equation of motion. So for particle A, using the second equation of motion, S is x, U is 0, A is 2. And that gives us equation 1. Then for particle B, still use second equation of motion, S is 20 minus x, U is 0, and A is 5. But they both take the same time because they said at the same instant. So that gives us equation 2. So when I substitute, where there is x, I'll put there t squared. That is one way. Or I can say, where there is t squared, I'll put it here. So because they asked for the distance, I'll substitute for t here to come up with this. Then I'll simplify to make x the subject, and that's what they wanted. So M1 for this, mobile means it can be here or here depending on what you started with. So if you started with particle B, it will be at this step. If you started with particle A, it will be at this step. Then B1 for equation 1, for equation 2, equating or substitution and output. So now we shall go to question 4. Question 4 says, the cost of producing a box of chocolates depends on the cost of raw materials, production, and packaging. The table below shows the various price relatives and the weights of these items. So the price relative for 2021 using 2020 as the base year is 179 for raw materials, Y for production, and 198 for packaging. The price relative for 2022 using 2020 as the base year is X for raw materials, 258 for production, and 216 for packaging. The price relative for 2022 using 2021 as the base year is 105 for raw materials, 120 for production, and Z for packaging. Then I said find the values of X and Y. So here I shall start with raw materials. For raw materials, remember they gave us 79 somewhere, 179. So this 179, it is P of 2021 over P of 2020 times 100 gives you 179. Then when you come to P of 2022 over P of 2021 times 100 gives you 105. Then from there, you realize that X is equal to P of 2022 over P of 2020 times 100. So here I'll make P 2021 the subject. Then also come to P of 2022 over P of 2021 times 100 gives you 105, making P 2022 the subject. Then from there I can get the value of X, which is P of 2022 over P of 2020 times 100. So that's the formula for price relative. It is base price, current year price divided by base year price times 100. I know P of 2022 is here and P of 2021 is here. So sorry, P of 2020 is here. So I'll come and I realize that this can cancel. So I'll again use this to get P of 2021. So where there was P 2021, I'll put there this. And in that case, these two can cancel. When they cancel, I'll come up with 187.95 as the value of X. We are going to do the same for production. For production, P of 2022 over P of 2020 times 100 gives you 258, meaning P of 2022 is this. Also, P of 2022 over P of 2021 times 100 gives you 120. Therefore, P of 2022 gives you this. So realize that this is P 2022 and this is P 2022. I'll equate these two to give me this. Therefore, P of 2021 is good by taking this side to give you this. Now from there I can get the value of Y, which is P of 2021 over P of 2020 times 100. So substitute for P 2021 and these two will cancel to give you 215 as the answer. So that is what they wanted, and that's how marks can be distributed. So question 4, meaning that the first one was question 3. So it says that forces of magnitude 10 newtons, 15 newtons, and 12 newtons act in the directions 0, 40 degrees, west 30 degrees north, and northeast respectively. Determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant. So this 10 corresponds to 1, 0, 40, 15 corresponds to this, and 12 corresponds to that. Meaning that we have to first make a sketch. So we'll start with the 10, which is 0, 40. Remember, bearing starts from the north. That's why there is 40 here. But resolving, we are interested in the angle to the horizontal. That is why we put this 50. Next is 15, which is west 30 degrees north. So this is the 30. Because this is west towards the north, it is 30. Then the last one is northeast. Northeast means 45 degrees to the horizontal. After sketching, we can now resolve. So after getting the angles to the horizontal, then always the horizontal component will have cos. I think you see cos, cos, cos. Then the vertical component will have sine. I think you see sine, sine, sine. But that comes only after getting the angle to the horizontal. Then we shall go to the signs. Here it is positive because for 10, it is this side which is right and this side which is upward. Remember, we use this triangle whereby for horizontal, forces to the right are positive and forces to the left are negative. For vertical, upward is positive, downward is negative. So if you look at this 10, horizontal is to the right, which is positive, vertical is upward, which is positive. But when it comes to 15, horizontal is to the left, which is negative, and vertical is upward, which is positive. That's why you see a negative, positive. For 12, it is horizontal is to the right, which is positive, and vertical is upwards, which is also positive. So that's why you see plus plus here. So to get the signs, always remember to use this cross. Then from there, you shall use a calculator, add this plus this plus this to give you this to 4 decimal places, this plus this plus this to give you this to 4 decimal places. Then from there, I'm going to draw a rectangle triangle, but because they want magnitude and direction, for magnitude, I can say square root of this square plus this square to give me this as the answer. Then for direction, I need a right angle triangle. So positive horizontal is to the right. Then positive vertical is upwards. Then you draw a line from start to end, which gives you the resultant. So this magnitude is what we've got, but we need this direction also. So you shall use tan. Tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent to give you this, and use the calculator to get the value of theta. Then you can state the direction, that it is north because north is this side, so they want this balance. So north 90 minus 85.35 degrees east, which is north 4.66 degrees east. So B1 was for this first diagram drawn with a ruler, B1 for resolving, M1 for the substitution, A1 for output. This one is for attempting to find direction, and B1 is for stating direction. So that's how the 6 marks would come about. Then question 5 says the mean of n numbers is 5. If the number 13 is now included with the n numbers, the new mean is 6. Determine the value of n. So first of all, the initial mean, they said it is 5, so and it's got by summation x over n. So when I cross multiply, I get the value for the summation of those n numbers. Then they said when number 13 is added, so the new sum will be this summation plus 13, which gives this, and the new number of terms will be n plus 1, and the mean is equal to 6. So when I cross multiply, I'll come up with that, then correct like terms to get the value of n as 7, and that's what they wanted. So M1 for substitution, for summation and division, cross multiplying, and out value of n, and that's how the 5 marks would come about. Then question 6 says find in the form ai plus bj the velocity of a plane flying from point A, which is 10.5, to point B, which is 130 negative 110, at a speed of 100. So that means we can get the magnitude of velocity is 100, and we can get AB, which is OB minus OA, to give you 120 negative 160. So magnitude of AB will give me 200. Then I remember that if I want to convert a magnitude into vector, I'll get the unit vector of its direction times the magnitude of that vector. So the direction vector is AB, and this unit vector is vector AB over its magnitude, then times the magnitude of the speed, which gives me the velocity vector, the vector of the velocity. So when I substitute magnitude here, direction here, it gives me this as the velocity vector, and that's what they wanted. So 1 mark for substitution, output, magnitude, substitution, output, and that's how the 5 marks would come about. So now we shall go to section B, which consists of 48 marks, and question 1 says the table gives the cumulative frequency distribution of heights in centimeters of 400 children in a certain school. Part A, draw a cumulative frequency curve for the above data and use it to estimate Roman 1, the median, and Roman 2, interquartile range. I think let's start with part A. Part B, they want mean and standard deviation. So questions of group data are easily done by first tabulating. So shall first draw a table having heights which are given in the question. Now I think realize that in the question there were inequalities, but in this table of mine there are no inequalities. It is because each time there are inequalities, it means that the class is the same as the class boundary. So what we do, we put both of them into one column. That's why you're seeing this column of height having both limits, because the class is the same as the class boundary. I think we can identify that with this. They are the same values. So each time you see an inequality, just remember the class is the same as class boundary. Therefore, when you're tabulating, you put both of them into one column to avoid confusion. The next is the cumulative frequency, which was given in the question. And from the cumulative frequency, we shall get the frequency. First put this one here, then this minus this gives this, this minus this gives this, this minus this gives that, this minus this gives that, this minus this gives that, and this minus this gives that. And the total is 400. So from there you can now get the value of x. X is the midpoint, so this plus this over 2, 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 this plus this over 2. So from these two columns, we can multiply them to get fx. So this times this, 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 and lastly this times that. Then you have to add up all these values to get this total. The next column will be fx squared. So this times this squared, 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 and this times this squared. So again, add all these values to get the total. So now we can easily answer the questions. So one mark was for this, another mark was for this column. Now let's start with part A. Part A, they wanted you to draw a cumulative frequency curve. So you shall need a graph paper, then label the axis, draw the axis. Then choose a suitable scale for the horizontal and put it there. I think we are starting from the lower class boundary, and the axis has to be labeled. Then do the same for the vertical. Get the scale and label it. Then from there you can now start plotting upper class boundary again, cumulative frequency against upper class boundary. So for 1110 is 110 is that, 120 is that, 130 is that, 140 is that, 150, 160, and 170. Then shall draw a reasonably smooth curve through all these values and joins the origin. So let's do that. Okay. Then from that will be the part A. Then shall now go to the questions asked. For A Roman 1, they ask for the median height, and A Roman 2, they ask for the interquartile range. So we shall start with Roman 1, median height. So for median height, you need to first get the median position. So median position is a half n, which is a half times 400, which is the total frequency, to give you 200. That means we are going to come here and look for 200 on the vertical axis, take a horizontal line to meet the curve, and drop a perpendicular to meet the horizontal axis, and read off that value. So that value will be our median. So we'll come here and say that median is that. The Roman 2, they wanted the interquartile range. Interquartile means you have to get the upper quartile and also the lower quartile. So let's start with the lower quartile, get its position, which is a quarter n, and it's 100. So we'll come back to the graph and look for 100. Then take a horizontal line to meet the curve, drop a perpendicular to meet the horizontal axis, and read off that value. So that will be the lower quartile. So we'll come here and say the lower quartile is that. For the upper quartile, it is 3/4 n, which is 300. So we'll come here and look for 300. Take a horizontal line to meet the curve, drop a perpendicular to meet the horizontal scale, and read off that value. So that will be your upper quartile. So I'll come here and say that upper quartile is that. Therefore, the interquartile range is got by subtraction, and that will be the answer. So that's how the 3 marks would come about in this part. Then from the curve, those will be the marks. Then part B, so part B, they wanted mean and standard deviation. So there you need to remember what we got in the table, that summation of f is 400, summation of fx is 51880, summation of fx squared is 6797600. So when you remember that, you can easily answer the question of mean and standard deviation. So for mean, substitute summation of fx and summation of f to give you that. Then for standard deviation, it is square root of summation of fx squared over summation of f minus mean squared. So substitute for this, substitute for this, substitute for this, and substitute for that to give you 13.1114 centimeters. And the sum marks would be awarded. Question 8 says, part A, a projectile is fired from the ground with initial velocity of this. Find its Roman 1 position vector at n time t and Roman 2 horizontal range. So let's start with those ones. So u is given that in vector form. Then acceleration, remember, horizontal component of acceleration is 0, but vertical component is negative g, which is negative 9.8. So position vector is this s, which is ut plus a half at squared. Then you substitute for u, substitute for a, to give you this as the position vector at any time t. Then Roman 2, they wanted the horizontal range. So range means the vertical displacement is 0. So come and equate this to 0 to give you the value of t, which is that. Then from that value of t, I can now get, remember range is the horizontal distance. So horizontal distance is here. So substitute for t to give you the horizontal range. Okay. Then for part B, part B says find the velocity and angle of projection of a particle which passes in a horizontal direction just over the top of a wall which is 12 meters high at a horizontal distance of 32 meters from the point of projection. So horizontal direction means it is at maximum height. So we're going to come here and draw a sketch. Put the wall which is 12 meters high and a horizontal distance of 32 meters from the point of projection. Then we shall project. So that is the initial velocity they want and the angle of projection. So at this point it is maximum height, meaning that the velocity is entirely horizontal. So maximum height is given by this formula that u sine theta everything squared divided by 2g. But the same maximum height is 12. So I'll come up with this, substitute for g to give you this as equation 1. Then time taken to reach maximum height is given by that formula, u sine theta over g. So u sine theta is given here and g is that. So we'll come up with this as the time. Then the horizontal distance is ut cos theta, which is equal to 32. So t is this, and u is here, cos theta is here. So come and simplify. I've taken this on this side to come up with this. So there are two equations and two unknowns. You can eliminate u by dividing. So equation 1 divided by equation 2, u will cancel and I'll remain with this sine over cos, which is tan, and it will give me 36.87 degrees. Now that I've got the value of theta, I can come here or here to get the value of u. So if I use equation 1, substitute for theta and make u the subject. And that's what they wanted. So that's how we could get the 7 marks in that part. Then question 10 says the points scored by 8 houses A to H in music and drama competitions were as follows in the table below. Part A, illustrate the two sets of scores by means of a scatter diagram. Then calculate the mean score for music and drama and plot the result on the scatter diagram. Then B, draw a line of best fit on the scatter diagram and use it to determine the points scored in music for a house which scored 95 in drama, the points scored in drama for a house which scored 89 in music. And lastly, calculate the rank correlation coefficient for the house performance in music and drama competitions and comment on your result. So this question of scalar diagram and correlation are easily done by first tabulating. So we are going to first tabulate. So that the columns you need for X, you put the values for music. And then you add all these values because they ask for the mean score. Add all those values to get the summation. For Y, put all the values of Y. Then add all these values to get the summation. Then start ranking. Ranking is done in descending order. So start with the values of X. The biggest are 2, meaning that you have to get the average of the would-be position. What would have taken position 1 and the other position 2. But because they are the same, we get the average, which is 1.5, and that's what you give for both this and that. Now position 2 is taken, the next value will be, okay, now these ones, they are also identical. So one would have taken position 3, another one position 4, and another one position 5. But because they are the same, we'll get the average of the would-be position. So I'll come and get the average of 3, 4, and 5, which is 4. And those that I give for both, for all. 4, 4, 4. The next, we will stop at 5, so this will be 6. This will be put here. Then next is 7. That's what we put here. And lastly, this is 8. That's what we put here. So you have ranked the values of X. What about the values of Y? Y, this is position 1, followed by this as position 2, followed by this as position 3, followed by this as position 4, followed by this as 5, followed by this as 6, followed by this as 7, and lastly this as 8. So we are done with the ranking. Next is substitute. So Rx minus Ry. This minus this gives that. This minus this. 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 This minus that. So next is this squared. We square, but we square also the negative. So negative 6.5 squared. So some of you are putting a negative here. It is not okay because in squaring, we square the whole value with this negative. Then this squared, this squared, this squared, this squared, this squared, this squared, and this squared. So we're going to add all these values to come up with summation of this squared. Okay. They also ask for the mean, so I can get the mean because this is summation of x over n, then also summation of y over n to give you the mean score as 85.5, 92.5. So this will be for both these rankings, that is 1 mark, then this summation, that mark, then the mean, that is 1 mark. So that's how we could get the 3 marks for that table. The next we shall now start answering the questions. Part A, they said, illustrate the 2 scores by means of a scatter diagram. That means we shall need a graph paper. Then we draw the axes, horizontal and vertical. Then we get a scale for the horizontal axis. And also do the same for the vertical axis. Then we get a title for our graph. And then we shall start plotting. So the first value for A, it was this. Then for B, it was this. For C, it is that. For D, it was that. For E, it is that. F, G, H. Then they also told us to locate the mean score, which is that. Then from there, they told us to draw the line of best fit. So line of best fit has to follow 3 rules. 1, it must pass through this mean point. Then 2, it must pass through 1 or more points. Here it has passed through 3. Even if it was 1 point, it would be okay. Then the condition 3 is that it must leave equal or almost equal points on either side. So this side there is 1 and 2. So there are 2 points this side. This side there is 1, 2, 3. So there are 3. That's what they mean by almost equal, because the difference is 1. If here it was 4 and here it was 1, it would not be okay. If it was 4 and here it was 2, it would not be okay. So the difference has to be 1 or 0. Then you can answer the questions. For part A, they wanted points scored in music for a house which scored 95 in drama. So shall go to drama and locate 95. Then draw a perpendicular to make the vertical axis and read off that value. Then you can come and write that the required score in music is that. Then for Roman 2, points scored in drama for a house which scored 89 in music. So shall go to music and look for 89. Then where it stops, miss the line of best fit, we take a horizontal line and read off that value. And then you can come and write. So that was part B. Then part C. Part C, they wanted the rank correlation coefficient for the performances in music and drama. So quote the formula. This formula is available in the logbook. Substitute and get the output. The output has to be in decimal places. Then you can comment. So either use that or that. So how does this come about? So first of all, the pairs are 8. So we shall come here and say that for 8 pairs we have this. So there is this and there is also this. So they said significant if this exceeds this value. So at 5%, the casualty value exceeds because it was 0.9 something, 9104. So this value is smaller. That's why we say significant. Same applies to 1%. 0.9 is bigger than this value. That's why we say significant. So B1 for that music, B1 for that estimation, M1 for the substitution, A1 for output, B1 for the comment. Then question 11 says, the Traffic Uganda service is doing a clamp down on speeding. During a recent speeding trap, they collected the following data. So part A, capture the values of A, B, C, and D. And part B, determine the probability that a driver selected at random is a female driver given that she is not speeding. And part C, are the events of being male and speeding independent show all the relevant working to support your answer. So let's start with part A, values. So the good thing we have here, total, meaning if you go vertical, this plus this is equal to this, this plus this equal to this, this plus this equal to this. That is if we choose to go vertical. Then for horizontal, this plus this equal to this, this plus this equal to this, and this plus this equal to this. So either way it is okay, whatever you choose. So for part A we shall say this plus that equal to this, meaning A is that. This plus this equal to this, meaning B is that. This plus this is equal to this, meaning C is that. And this plus this is this, meaning D is that. Then part B, that was part A. Then part B, determine the probability that a driver selected at random is a female driver given that she is not speeding. So given that means there is a condition. So I'm going to first get the intersection, female and non-speeding. So female and non-speeding, you come here and look for the female and also non-speeding. So the intersection is this, over the total, which is that. That's why the 180 over 1000 came from. The non-speeding, still come here. Non-speeding, they didn't specify whether female or male, so you get this total over this sample space. That's where non-speeding came from. Then the conditional probability of female given non-speeding is F given S complement, which is the intersection over S complement. So come and substitute. The intersection is here, S complement is there, so we come up with this as the answer. And that's how the 8 marks would be awarded in this slide. Then part C says, are the events of being male and speeding independent? So we all know that for independent events, the intersection is equal to the product of the individual events. So I'm going to come and find out if it is true. So the intersection of male and speeding is that. So let's see where it came from. Male is here and speeding is here, so it is this over the total. And that's where this came from. Then just male times speeding, so male alone is this. Male, because we can be male when speeding or male when not speeding, so it is this over the total. Then speeding, you can speed when you're male or speed when you're female, so you get this total over this. So that's where this came from. You realize that these two are different. So you can come and conclude that since the intersection is not equal to the product of the individual events, then the events are not independent. And that's what they wanted. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and be reminded the next video will be on Senior 5 of Submath Middle Term 2 2023. So if you're not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button below this video so you can receive updates when the next video has been uploaded. And also, if you know of any student who's not yet on this platform, please share the link of this video with them via social media platforms like Facebook and WhatsApp, so that we can all benefit as a family.